Hello, hello. Happy Sunday to you all. I am going to wait a few minutes and then we're going to get started. So if you are here with me, thank you so much for joining me. Tonight we're going to be talking about part 2 of prepping for back to school. Last week I talked about school supplies, some preparation tips, as well as tips to help with social and emotional health for the parents and the students, right? And so tonight I'm going to be talking about scheduling, digital learning setup at home or at a family member's house, as well as reward systems that we can use throughout the school year to keep our kids motivated. So give me a few minutes. I need to share this live in a few groups, and then I will go ahead and get started. Okay, so I have shared it. So I'm going to give it about one more minute and then I'm going to go ahead and get started. So we're looking at 9:05. At 9:06, I am going to get started. So if you are here with me, thank you so much. Hi, Christina. Thank you for joining me. Diane, thank you so much for joining me. So if you are joining me, please share, friends. Thank you so much for joining me. So if you are here, hey friend, please go ahead and share. If you're watching from either the Mom Talk group or the Gwinnett County Digital Learning Group, unfortunately, you will not be able to share out of the private group. But if you are connected with me and you're watching here on my personal page, Tramika Crawdad, please go ahead and share this live video, as well as tag any moms or any family members, any educators that you know may need this information. So thank you again so much for coming on and joining me. Let me make sure I turn my volume off here. So let's dive in. So hey Nook, hey Missy, Miss Young, thank you so much for joining me. So last week we talked about prepping for back to school. So that's the subject that we're talking about. And y'all, I really think that I'm probably going to have a part 3 because I had 7. I'm an organized person. So when I wrote down all the tips, I put them into 7 different categories. And so last week we only got to 2. So I'm going to try to at least do 3 more this Sunday. And then I may have to do a part 3 next Sunday. But if I get to it tonight, hey, I'll go ahead and give you all the information. So as we all know, here locally where I live in Gwinnett County, my particular county, and most of the surrounding counties, the difference between last week and this week is we have went full digital. So everyone, my county, surrounding counties, full digital learning. And so the tips that I had before, I talked about them applying to whether you are going to go in person, if you have made that decision, or if you're going to do digital learning. So if you're somewhere around the world and you're still having the option to do in person, what I'm going to tell you is tweak whatever I give you so that it works for you for in-person learning. Most of the tips I do give tonight, because I'm going to talk about scheduling and setup, is for digital learning. So just keep that in mind. I wanted to put that disclaimer out there. But hey, like I said, here, our county, we are full digital learning. So we're going to need all the help, the advice, tips, support, positivity, mom vibes, positive vibes that we can get. So I am here and I'm going to help you. For any of you who may be watching me live for the very first time, I am Tramika Crawdad, CEO and owner of Tramika Crawdad Enterprises, LLC, where we have services for coaching and speaking for moms in particular. And so I deal with particular subjects such as time management, organization, planning, and self-care. And so this is right up my alley. I have my house organized. We're on schedules. We pretty much do this all throughout the year. It's going to be a little bit more different. We're going to have to be a little bit more strict when it comes to digital learning. And so I wanted to share the tips and the advice that I wrote down on paper for myself. I want to share it with all the moms, parents, and families around the world. So if you have any questions, definitely go ahead and put them in the chat box, and I'll try to get to those before we go off today. But I'm going to dive right in. So again, last week we talked about school supplies, preparation, as well as tips for social and emotional health for moms and for students. And so if you, or parents, I should say, if you did not see that video, please go check it out on my page. If you're not connected to me through the group and you're connected to me one of my personal pages, you're more than welcome to just scroll through. If we're not friends on my personal page, that is okay. That video is public. You should be able to find that on my page. View that so you can get caught up with us. There was some I got some good feedback, and there was some really good information that was given on those videos. Okay. One thing before I get into scheduling, that's where we're going to start tonight. We talked about a lot of school supplies. I'm not going to go over that full list. One of the things that I had wrote down for myself, for my kids' school supply list that I forgot to mention to you all last week is clipboards. Clipboards are used in the classroom a lot. Especially with the elementary level, and those are going to be key at home as well. They may have them at the dollar store, Dollar Tree. I did see them at Dollar General. They were $3 there. Those are going to be very important because they may not be working at a desk the entire day. So say they want to sit on the floor on a beanbag, or just on the floor on the rug, or they want to sit on the couch. Those clipboards are going to be very handy for them to actually write. So take notes, do their math problems, whatever the case may be. So the clipboards are going to be very handy. I just wanted to make sure that I mentioned that before we close out the school supply section. So clipboards, make sure you get some clipboards. Okay, so scheduling, y'all. First thing I'm going to say is you have to establish a schedule. You have to establish a schedule. I know for some this is hard. We're a fly by night. We're the wind take us type of people. I get it. That's not me though. I schedule, but I get that some people are like that, but you're going to have to try your best. Moms, listen to me. You're going to have to try your best to create a schedule, and not only create a schedule, you're going to have to try your best to stick to the schedule. So it needs to be a strict schedule for your students. The reason being is because you're at home, you're comfortable. And so it's going to be so easy to stray away from that schedule if you're not routinely or consistently sticking to it. So it's going to be hard. Get you an accountability partner. We talked about that last week. Get you another mom that can help you be accountable so that you can stick to the schedule. So what does that look like? So we have not heard here in our county, we have not heard about exactly what the schedule is going to look like. They're telling us, hey, they may have to be on the computer the entire time or sometime during the school day. They may have set hours where they have to go on for instruction. That instruction may last 20 minutes and they may have to work on something on their own for 30 minutes. I've seen all types of examples. Not really sure what that's going to look like. But what you can do is say, I know from this time to this time, my child is going to be in school. So that is something that you can put in place now. If you have a teenager that's in high school typically starts around 7-ish. So you know that time they need to be up and they need to start getting ready. You know, if you have a middle schooler here in Georgia or where I'm from, it typically starts later. Elementary school, whatever level your child is in, you know what time school typically starts. So now start mentally planning and writing down a schedule for that particular time. What does a schedule need to look like? It needs to look, in this information too, I shared it last week. There was a forum for educators and parents through one of the local churches here where they had psychologists, teachers, assistant principals. They were sharing this information. So some of the information I have received from them, as well as just information that I know that worked for my family for last spring, and then talking to a lot of the educators. And so one of the things that was told to me is it needs to look like a regular school day. So if your child was getting up at 6 a.m. to get outside and catch the bus by 6:45 or 6:50 because they need to be to school by 7:20, then your routine or your schedule needs to look something similar. Of course, they don't have to wake up that early because they're not going out to catch the bus, but they need to wake up in a decent enough time to actually wake up, brush their teeth, wash their face, up to you if you do the morning showers, whatever that is. Some of the suggestions have been to have them change clothes as well to actually get dressed for the day. I even hear that tip for adults when they're talking about working from home, that is great for you to get dressed for the day. I'm going to leave that up to each individual family, because I will say that in the spring there were some days where we didn't absolutely get up and get fully dressed. But you need to give yourself time, you and your child, time to get up and actually wake up to start the day. You don't want to start off tired. You don't want to start off groggy. If that happens, it's going to be frustrating for all involved. So make sure that they're getting a good night's sleep, and then make sure that they're getting up at a decent time to be ready to go for the day. So that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about. Get dressed. You can do that if you want to. Most important thing, create a schedule and stick to it. Stick to the schedule. Spirit days. This is an ideal that I'm giving you to make it fun and creative. This is not necessarily, I would say, a reward, but I do know that in spring, even my children, they lack motivation at some point. And so we don't know how long we're going to be doing this. And so because of that, it's going to be important to switch things up and have fun. Stay to that schedule, but incorporate things that's going to make it fun for them. Someone say eat breakfast. I am definitely going to get to that. I have that on my list as well. So spirit days, create some spirit days. But one day it might be pajama day. One day it might be wear your favorite hat day. One day it might be crazy sock day. You know, take some of those samples or the examples that they did in school when they were going to school. Today, you did so well yesterday. This might be like a reward. You get to wear your favorite skirt or your dress or your tie, whatever that may look like, your slippers. You get to not wear pants today, whatever it looks like in your house, right? Whatever is pleasurable for your kids. You want to incorporate some type of spirit days for your older kids. It might be college wear days. It might be your favorite for, you know, if you have boys, or I shouldn't just say boys, girls too, your favorite sport teams days, whatever that is. Make sure that you're incorporating some fun days. You might want to do that where you have one full spirit week, or you might want to do it where it's like every Wednesday we're going to do something special. Every Thursday every Friday, whatever that looks like for your household. PJ as a reward day. That is absolutely a great ideal. But spirit days, so incorporate those in your schedule. That's going to be helpful. Homework hour. So it's been told to me that there's going to be homework. I don't know how true it is. We'll see. But I want you to get it in your mind just in case. And so what that looks like, do it the same way. Please make them wear pants. I know some kids who don't like having clothing on. So if that's what floats their boat, hey, give them a day where they can kind of work as they please. Just make sure it doesn't get on the Zoom or the Google Classroom or anything of that nature. Homework time. So as a regular school day would go, you know, you would get dressed in the morning, you would go to school, you would come home. If your child did snack, chores, and then, you know, had a little brain break, that's what I call that, and then they did homework, do the same thing at home. So if they decide to incorporate homework where you are in your county for your child, let them do the full school day. Let them have a break after the school day, last session, to do like get a snack, have some downtime, maybe talk to some friends virtually, do their chores, whatever that, and come back to the homework. You don't want to do it too later in the day or in the evening, but give them a break from the school day, because if they were going to school, you would typically do that. So keep that in mind just in case there's homework. Family time. Family time is going to be very, very important. I don't know about you all, but we have been taking advantage of the family time, doing game nights, watching movies together, not really places we can go together, not many places, but if you can get out and you can go somewhere together, maybe take a walk, take a bike ride, go to a park, whatever that is, incorporate family time like in your schedule for your day. So it may not be in the full schedule for the actual school day, but sometime within the week, in the evening, or maybe in the morning, if you have a late starter for school, you want to incorporate some type of family time. So one of the things, I'll give you an example that I told my kids we're going to do, and I'm still working, my wheels are turning to come up with some more ideas, but we're going to do movie Mondays. And so each Monday evening, we're going, after the school day is done, if homework needs to be done, chores, all that good stuff, we are going to sit down as a family and we're going to do movie Monday. So movies on Monday evening. So that is an ideal that you can do with your kids throughout the week. Whatever you do, just make sure that you are incorporating some type of family time. The next thing is digital breaks. So it's going to be very, very key depending on your child. We know that some of us have children where they can't sit in front of the computer for a very long time. They can't sit in front of whatever device they're using for a very long time. You know, they get agitated. They get easily distracted. It's going to be important when they're not having those live times with their teacher that you're giving them some type of breaks. Okay, so-and-so, son, daughter, you can take a 5-minute break to get up and walk around, go in your room and go do something, whatever that may be. Don't get them into the routine to say, hey, you can go play a video game. This is just my suggestion. Don't get them in a routine to say, hey, you can go play a video game. Hey, you can go get on your phone. That's something I'm going to talk about as well. Keep it, you know, educational, academic throughout the school day, but just give them a break to take their eyes off of the screen. That's going to be healthy for their eyes as well. So have those digital breaks. They may only be 5 minutes. They may be 10 minutes. They may be 15. It just depends on the schedule that your school gives you, but keep in mind to schedule those digital breaks. Accountability. It has been said by a lot of administrators and teachers and staff that attendance is definitely going to be taken. And so that's why it's so important that your child gets up in the morning every day, and you know, when they can, and that they're in a place, and mentally as well as physically, so that they can start their school day, because there is going to be some sort of accountability, more than we had last spring, where it comes to attendance. So I just want to throw that out there. Include some type of physical activity. Include some type of physical activity. Include some type of physical activity. Oh my gosh. So including the parents in this household, we have all put on a little quarantine weight. So, you know, when your kid is going to school during the school day, if they're riding a bus, they're walking to the bus stop, they're walking from the bus to the school, they're walking to their classes. Even if they ride the car, they're getting out the car, we're walking to their classes, up and downstairs, hallways, they have PE. So many things that they're doing so that they're physical throughout the school day. They're not necessarily getting that type of physical activity at home. So it's going to be very, very key and important for you to include some type of physical activity. That may be going outside, to have some type of recess that you build into your schedule. Activities outside, like I said, doing those walks, going to the park. There's plenty of videos and things of that nature. Go Noodle, things that they can do on YouTube. This may be a little bit harder with the teenagers, so you may have to get a little bit more creative. I will say that there's a lot of virtual trainings that are out there as well. So whatever you have to do to incorporate it, just make sure that your child is getting some type of physical activity every single day. That is just, I mean, it's just healthy. So parents as well as students, making sure they get some type of physical activity. Okay, so this brings me to, Jackie, what you said about the breakfast. Create a menu. You need to know what's for breakfast, lunch, and if you can, do dinner. So I am an avid meal planner. I have a menu for every day of the week, and on our menu in our house, I have breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then it also includes the snacks that they should eat. The reason being is I don't need you to eat us out of house and home. That's number one. Number two is when I go grocery shopping, I know exactly what to buy so that I can stay on budget. And then it just creates organization for our household. So it works for us. So create a menu. You may not want to do snacks. You may not want to do dinner. At least for breakfast and lunch, you need to know what needs to be prepared. This is going to be especially important for my working parents. And so if you're only having small pockets of times where you could kind of get away from your devices or your work area because your job is demanding or whatever that may look like, if you already have the breakfast and lunch scheduled out, snacks and dinner if you can, it's going to save you a lot of time of trying to figure it out. Nothing's available, so you're running up the street to some type of fast food restaurant. Create a meal plan. Create a meal plan. If you don't know how to do that, I have several strategies that can help you with that. Reach out to me. I'll be able to help you with that. But creating a meal plan, crock pot chronicles for dinner. Yes, those one pot meals. Or a lot of people are using the steamer. I can't even think of what it's called right now, but it works really, really well as well. I got one for my birthday and I use it a lot as well. So whatever you need to do, create a menu: breakfast, lunch, snacks, and dinner. Cook large enough meals to stretch out. Yes, that is absolutely correct. So I have this thing. I'll give you this tip that I use. Instapot. That's what it is. Thank you so much, Ebony. I love my Instapot. So I have leftover days, cook days, quick meal days, and then free choice days. So cook days are the days that I actually cook, which like Sunday, I will cook, and I cook enough to last for 2 days. So tomorrow will be, for example, will be a leftover day. And then I have quick meal days like Thursdays and Saturdays where I cook enough just to last 1 day. And then like the free choice days on Fridays where we typically do like pizza or we eat out or something of that nature. So again, do what works for your household. You may not do them in that order, but keep those in mind. I'll actually post a sample of this on my page tomorrow. I'll do it as a tip because I do Mom Tip Mondays. So cook days, quick meal days, leftover days, and then your free choice days. So that is a little bit of how you can create your schedule. The days that you know are going to be super busy, again, for my working parents, or even if you have your own business that are going to be super busy, or if your kid is still in some type of extracurricular activity, you need to know what days that you have time to actually cook on and what days you have like zero time and you all need some type of leftovers. Quick meals are typically meals that you can cook in 30 minutes or less. If you are a beef or a turkey eater, ground beef or ground turkey are typically the type of meat that you would use for those particular meals. That's if you eat meat. Let's see here. So create a menu, meal plan. I talked about that. Schedule for the week or schedule a day at a time. So I do something called Sunday prep. And what I do is I sit down and look at my entire week. I meal plan for the week. If it's that, because I meal plan for 2 weeks at a time. So if it's that Sunday to meal plan, I'll meal plan. I'll look at my business schedule. I'll look at the kids' schedule, hubby schedule. I have everybody's schedule. It's on the whiteboard. It's pasted for everybody to see. And so, and I have it in my phone and typically write it down on my daily planner as well. So planning for the week helps you to be productive. It actually helps you to be successful as well. I was just doing some coaching sessions Thursday, I believe, and one of the things that I had told the client that I was talking to is life happens, and so we're never going to be perfect. She was talking about how she likes to plan out everything, but what happens when it doesn't go quite your way. If you plan for a week or you plan at all, it's going to be easier to pick up where you left off. So there may be a gap because life happens, but it's easier to get back on track if you actually have planned out your week or you planned out your day. So let's just say something in the middle of the day doesn't quite go so well, or something in the middle of the week doesn't quite go so well. You can go on to the next thing that's on the schedule or that's on your plan if you have a plan in place. If not, typically we're like mumble jumble trying to figure out how to make up that one thing and move on to everything else that we have to do for the rest of the week. So keep that in mind. Yes, Dara. Keep that in mind. Another thing that you're going to have is patience. You can't actually include it in your schedule, but I want you to like write it all around your schedule. Patience, patience, patience. And I know that I'm the biggest person that I need to be saying this to. Depending on what it is, I have pet peeves like repeating myself and stuff. Oh my gosh, y'all. So if you know you have certain pet peeves, if you know that the spring did not go so well for you or your child, it's going to be very important that you have patience. I mean, I don't even know how else to say it. You just need to have patience. Take it one day at a time. Plan for the week. Plan for your day, but take it one day at a time. And sometimes, y'all, it gets so frustrating that we have to take it an hour at a time. Sometimes you might have to take it minutes at a time. But whatever you do, you have to have patience. You have to have patience with your teachers, with the staff, with your child, and with yourself. Because nobody I mentioned is going to be perfect at all. So you have to make sure that you're having patience. Make sure you're flexible. That was something that I mentioned as well. So create some type of flexibility in the schedule. You may have like a free choice hour or time of the day or free choice day of the week where we're going to kind of like flow with the wind, blow with the wind, however they say it. You may have a day or an hour in your schedule where you do that. That is perfectly fine for those people who are more spontaneous. The most important thing is to have some type of good outline for your day and for your week. So be flexible. Life does happen, like I mentioned. Just know where to pick up where you left off and just to keep going so that you can be productive. Have a hard stop time. Have a hard stop time. Have a hard stop time. That is for you and that's for your students. So I know that we have some children that are perfectionists and we have some parents that are perfectionists. And it's like, oh my God, you got to get this report done. Oh my God, you got to finish this assignment. If your teacher is being flexible on the completion of those assignments, you need to be flexible and you need to have a hard stop time as well. So what I mean by that, if you schedule out your day, let's just say it's from 8 a.m. until 2 p.m. for your school day. You need to create some type of hard stop time. 2:15, 2:30. If they was in school, they wouldn't be staying after much longer. And if you were working on something at your job, you may not, and it just depends on some people, you may not be staying after much longer. You need to be able to get on to the rest of your day. You need to be able to get on to give your brain some type of relaxation. You need to be able to get on to that family time or to do other stuff around the house. So you have to have some type of hard stop time. So whatever that is, 15 minutes after, 20 minutes after, 30 minutes after, or my child has been working on this for 20, 30 minutes, we got to stop and pick it up another day or at another time during the day. So create some concrete, that's setting boundaries for yourself. So creating for your child. So create some type of hard concrete time where you're going to stop on a particular assignment or for the school day. Let's see here. Carving time for homework. I already talked about that. I was waiting to I'm making sure I'm going through my list here. The most important thing that I want to talk about was scheduling. That I think is just like, oh my God, I love it. And I came up with this. Create a mom hour. Create a mom hour. So a mom hour, and this works, I will say, if you have older kids, if you have younger kids, this where some type of support may come in for somebody to help you, like maybe a spouse, a family member, a neighbor, another mom. Create a mom hour throughout your day. Does not or probably could not be during the school day. Create a mom hour where they can't bug you. They can't bother us, right? So we either get to cook during this time. We either get to go lock ourselves in a room with like a cheeseburger or some cookies or something. We get to do something. It doesn't matter what it is that you're doing to relax your mind. But for an hour, and again, the older kids are going to understand this is mommy's mom hour for the day. If you don't feel like you can do a full hour, take it down to 30 minutes. It needs to be at least 20 minutes a day, y'all. I need you at least 20 minutes a day where you're giving yourself some mom time that you will not be able to do the kids can't bother you. That's all I'm going to say. Mom hour, 20 minutes to 60 minutes, kids cannot bother you at all. So make sure that you create in the mom hour. That's all the information that I have on scheduling. Trying to go back and see if I had any questions. Thank you all so much for adding in your tips and advice as well. Tiana said, yes. We all need that. Look, Dar, you ain't the only, we all need it. 20 minutes at least, moms. 20 minutes to 60 minutes a day. Create that mom time where the kids cannot bother you. The next thing I want to talk about, I'm going to jump into is setup. So I got a few minutes left. I'm going to go ahead to the next thing. So setup. One of the things that I've been talking about in one of the digital learning groups that I have on Facebook is everybody kind of, I want people to get excited about the whole setup. I want the students, the kids to get excited. I'm excited because I love decorating stuff. So I love I'm going to be able to revamp my house. For some of us, we may not necessarily have some exact space. I would have loved to have a separate room. Unfortunately, especially since quarantine, we have used every square footage of our house at this point. We put something there to have some other type of outlet to be able to go to. And so because of that, I had to be creative and kind of creating space. You as well, Alicia, so you get me, you understand. So I had to be creative and trying to figure out some space for our kids to be able to have a learning space. So let me tell you about how we're going to do a learning space in our house. I will eventually post some videos. What I did was we're basically using half of our dining room. We don't necessarily use our dining room, just has this cute table with these cute table settings in it that I love. The dining room is my favorite place to decorate, just in case y'all wanted to know. But we're using half of the dining room. So what we did was we just turned the table around. So now I have some space to kind of put some things over there for the kids to work with. So our learning space, do what works for your house, is going to be a first of the morning space. So what that means is Crowd Out kids, they get up, they brush their teeth, get dressed, whatever our routine is going to be. They're going to come downstairs to this space. This is this is a starting space for us for the day. But they may not end up there. So eventually, if they're in this space, but they, after lunch or after a snack, they move over to the living room or they move over to the breakfast nook. That's perfectly fine. They move to the floor in another room. That's perfectly fine. But I need them to mentally gather themselves. I need to mentally gather myself. So there's going to be a space that I'm going to create that's going to be our starting learning space for every morning. If you can't find a space in your house, don't feel bad if you don't have the extra space. I am in a lot of homeschooling groups. I know a lot of them say hey, sometimes their kids work at the kitchen table. They work in the living room. They work on bean bags. They work on the living room floor, dining room table. Some people even allow their kids to work in their bedroom. Perfectly fine. You might want to set up a desk in their table in their bedroom, whatever that looks like. Do what works for your household. But I do think that the homeroom, that's what it is. Thank you, Chastity. That's our homeroom space. So I do think that it's important to gather some items that they're going to need from school and have a particular space for them. So that may not be a space that they actually work in. It may just be a file cabinet or some type of bench that they start on or some type of toolbox where pencils and stuff, whatever that looks like, a drawer. There should be a space that you create to keep all their supplies and stuff like that. If they can learn in this space as well, then that's great. So here's some examples that I want you to have. One of the things that we're going to do is in their binder. This binder will be left in this space. It won't go anywhere else. The first page of the binder, each child is going to have a binder, all their logins. So all of their logins for every type of platform that they're using for school in one place. So when it's time to get on the class, if they wake up late or we're running behind because we worked on another assignment or we went over on lunch because we went out to eat for lunch, whatever that may look like, we can fastly get to those logins so that we can actually access them and get back to what we need to do for the schedule. Now, most devices will probably save the logins. Sometimes they don't. And sometimes you may lose them. Sometimes you may change them. So it is ideal to have a space. Again, we're going to use a binder where you can have all the logins. So if you ever need to go back to them, they're there and available. You can post this on your wall as well. One of the other items that I was going to mention is a large whiteboard or a bulletin board, especially for your younger kids. ABCs, numbers, any of that, any assignments that you worked on the day before but that you didn't get a chance to complete. If they have a book report during 2 weeks, any announcements like they would do in the classroom with their whiteboard, those are the type of things that you can have on your bulletin board or your whiteboard as well. So keep that in mind when you're creating this space. I don't want you, let me say this too, this disclaimer, I don't want you to go out and spend a lot of money if you don't have it. A lot of places that you can go, you can see if people will donate. If you need something in particular, inbox me. I can post and see if I can get donations for it if you're here locally. See if people can donate. Go to like a thrift store. Facebook Marketplace, one of my favorite stores. Not really a store, but I need to stay off of it. Facebook Marketplace. Amazon, Dollar Tree has a lot of stuff. They have a whole school section. So be inexpensive or try to get the items donated for free. If you have the money to go out and purchase them new, that's fine. You can do that as well. But I don't want anybody feeling obligated to have like this space full of all this stuff. You don't have to do a lot of stuff. Just some basic needs so that they know this is the learning space that we're either going to work in all day or the space that we're going to start in. I mentioned a separate area if that works for your child. So if they're just comfortable at the kitchen table or on the couch, then that's perfectly fine. Again, for our household, we're going to do a separate space. Display your menu. So I told y'all on the schedule, I need y'all to at least for breakfast and lunch, because they tell them at school, they tell them on the announcements, they have it on the website. It just makes it easier for all involved. So display your menu for what you're going to have for that particular week. Or again, if you're doing a day-to-day planning, display the menu for the day. You want to display your schedule as well. So whatever that schedule is going to be created from your school and everything you're going to incorporate in that, put it out for accountability for you and for the child so they can see. If you have to, you get mixed up with something, if you're, especially for my working parents who are working from home, or if you're leaving, like you're a teenager at home and you're going to work, display the schedule, help them to try to be accountable. I know we're talking about teenagers here, so that they can go by the schedule. But just what if a phone call runs over? They're able to look at the schedule and jump in place to what needs to be happening at that particular time. Do not confine them to a desk all day. And so, again, my perspective and my suggestion, if you are going to get a desk, which I definitely suggest, on Facebook Marketplace, there has been a lot of like little schools and daycares that are selling like desks that you would actually see in the classroom, $10, $20, really inexpensive. If you're going to get a desk, and I suggest for the younger ones so that they can get used to the school atmosphere, I cannot believe, or I don't know how it's going to work for like pre-K and kindergartners to actually do digital learning. So typically in those classrooms, you may see tables, but if you get them a desk, they may feel like they're going to school. So if you get a desk, just remember, do not confine them to the desk for the entire school day to work. Maybe have about 2 to 3 areas in your house that they can comfortably work, that they can know this is your bean bag in this area. This is your comfy space in this particular area. This is the desk in this area. So about 2 to 3 spaces. Again, if that works for your household, for your child to be able to learn. You should have some type of desk table set up if you would like in the space. This is something that you may be able to find in your setup space as well. Yes, I am praying for us all, Christina. And so if you look on Facebook Marketplace, again, I believe people are still using Craigslist, Let Go, OfferUp, look for used desks. Like I said, the thrift stores. Or tables. You don't have to have an actual desk. You can do a table and create some type of tabletop for them to be able to use for a desk. Let's see. A place for everything. And what I mean by that is you're going to have to be organized. So all my parents who usually have stuff everywhere at their desk or in their bedroom or in your vehicle or wherever, you're going to have to be a little bit more organized this school year. I'm telling you, it's going to help you be more productive because you're not going to get frustrated. You're not going to be stressed out, not knowing like I can't find the pencil sharpener. And you in the kitchen with the knife trying to like make the leg come up. We don't want to have to do that. So give everything a place so that when it's time for them to color, you know where the crayons are, you know where the color pencils are, you know where the markers are. When it's time for them to cut, you know where the scissors are. When it's time for them to glue, you know where the glue is. They need paper. It's time for them to write. Calculator, whatever you need, the school supplies that you're going to have, give everything a place. So for me, I bought like a little drawer, a few little drawers where everything's going to go inside of. You can get a file cabinet. You can get like a plastic bin from Walmart. Again, thrift stores, ask for donations, whatever it is. Just make sure that everything has a place. You might want to just dump all the school supplies in one little bin. That's fine, whatever works for you. They even sell like the small little shoe bins at the Dollar Tree. So that's an example as well of something that you can get to be able to store your supplies. But it needs to be in one place. Everything needs to have a place. Whether that's in your room where they can't get to it when they're not supposed to get to it, if it's going to be in that learning space, if you're going to have it in the garage, wherever you're going to have it, just make sure that everything has its place and that you're being as organized as possible. One of the suggestions that I want to give is a lot of parents are talking about, I do have the flexibility to stay home with my child, but I still have to work and my work may be a little demanding. So what I am suggesting is, especially if you get like a small table or a small desk, you can set it up near your workstation if that works for you. If your child is like, if you don't work on the phone and you're not taking like phone calls and they're not going to be talking, having them close by is just going to help out a little bit. So I just wanted to give that suggestion. If it works for your situation, that is something that you may be able to do. So creating a workspace that is for them, or a learning space that is for them near your workspace may be good for you as well. My working parents at home. Make sure your space, if you're going to create a separate space, is fun. It has some type of vibrant colors. Let them shop with you. Let them pick out stuff online. Amazon, go to the Dollar Tree with you if you feel comfortable to take them there. Walmart, wherever you're shopping, thrift store, the donations that you're going to get. People put on Facebook for everything now. You can even ask for donations on Facebook if you feel comfortable doing that. But make sure that you are including them in the process. Like today, I asked my kids as I'm starting to set up their space, what do you feel like you're going to need to be successful? Of course, I got some crazy answers. But it's important that I have their feedback because I want them to be successful, and making them feel included in the process is going to be important as well. I don't want to set up a whole whatever section and they don't even work in it. So what do you want to see? Do you want a desk? Do you want to be on the floor? Do you want bean bags? Would you rather be on the couches? Would you rather be at the kitchen table? Those are some of the conversations that you need to have with your children if they're of age. For your smaller ones, you kind of know how they work, what cozy spaces and comfortable spaces they like. And so you can use that based off their personality and their character to create this separate space. One of the things that I'm going to be incorporating, and I think is very important as well, especially for the older children, is a testing area or a testing space. So I have a space. We actually have a loft upstairs in our house, and so that will be the testing area because I have 3 kids, and so although we talked about those noise cancellation headphones as one of the school supplies, things can still be loud if you don't have the headphones. You got this child listening to a Zoom call, this one in Google Classroom. You're trying to do work or do business, whatever that may look like. And so it's important that they need to be able to be focused when it's time for taking tests so that they can be successful. Because they still will have like those tests throughout, like they're testing for the chapter and, stuff like that. And so what I am going to do is create a separate testing area. If you don't have a separate area in your house, in that one area that you're going to create for their learning space, maybe you would say, okay, well, at this time, you're going to be at the desk, and you know how they have like you can actually get, it's like a triple fold, I don't know what it is, but it's at the Dollar Tree and it's made out of cardboard. You may want to put that up just to get them in the mind frame. Okay, it's test time. There's nobody here at the house to cheat off their paper, but just something, or a little sign you can create that say testing in progress. These are the type of things that they're doing in school, and so we want to try to do or mimic some of the things that will happen in school at home to get them into the same mind frame as learning. Because I'm telling y'all, especially for people who say, I can't work from home because I'm too comfortable. The kids are the same way. And so we have to make sure that we're incorporating some of the things that they may see in school or experience in school, if we can, to get them into the mind frame of being motivated to learn. So a separate testing area. The last thing I'm going to say about the setup is it needs to be these few things: organized, it needs to be decluttered, it needs to be comfortable, it needs to be special, and it needs to be unique. So organized, decluttered, comfortable, special, and unique. So that's all I have with the setup. I'm going to run through these rewards real quick, and I'm going to let y'all go. Few more minutes, 5 more minutes, and I'll be done. So rewards, I just have a few here. You know how your child is appreciated the most. You know how your child partition is what it's called. Thank you so much, Alicia. You know what your child loves, and so use those things and incorporate those things into your reward system, whatever system that you create. I will say that every child should have some type of reward system. So the few examples that I have is a treasure box. Simple, easy. Elementary school all day, hands down. That's all the teachers do, is they get a whole bunch of little junk that we step on and have to clean up at home, or they lose and they cry by the time they get home. They put that stuff in a reward box. It doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be an actual treasure box. You can get a box out of your garage. You can get like one of those styrofoam coolers from the Dollar Tree. Let them decorate it. They'll feel included. Get that, throw in some dollar stuff. Every week at the end of the week, if I didn't have to talk to you, you can do the same systems that they're doing in school, dropping their numbers every day, for behavior. One of the things that was brought to my attention, a lot of you may know Class Dojo. You as a parent can sign up your Class Dojo account so that you can do Class Dojo at home for your child, to help with like behavior and taking care of things and being productive in school, things of that nature. And Class Dojo can go for any age, but it's typically used for the younger kids. So set up a Class Dojo. That's an app for those of you who don't know what it is. End of the week, if you do numbers 1 through 5, if you had at least 3 5-days, then you can pick out a treasure box, whatever that may look like. It can have snacks in it. It can have toys in it. Anything that you want to pick. Treasure box is the most simplest way, I feel like, to have some type of reward system. The next thing is Class Dojo. I already mentioned that. That was the second thing. The third thing is Mom Bucks. We used to do this when our kids were younger with chores. And so if they did their chores correctly throughout the week, they would get a certain amount of bucks based on the responsibility. And then they can shop in the our store on Sunday. So I didn't call it Mom Bucks. You can call it whatever. Maybe your last name, Crawdad Bucks, Kid Bucks, Student Bucks, Reward Bucks, whatever you want to name it. Fake money. Go to the Dollar Tree and get fake money. And then what they do is they actually cash it in on the day of your choosing. And you have all types of little goodies in there. Stuff from the Dollar Tree. If they're older, you may want to do like everybody Fortnite. Oh my gosh, I'm so tired of getting Fortnite money. You may want to do stuff for like video games, Apple Music, whatever it may be. You will include those things into your store, and so they will earn bucks throughout the week, and then they would shop at the store. Now I know that one can probably get a little bit expensive, and so keep that in mind when you're looking at budgeting. You may just want to include that in your monthly budget. Like, hey, every month I'm going to get 25 things, $25 worth of stuff at the store. That doesn't go a long way for older kids. So definitely for some of the younger kids. So just keep that in mind with the budget. Sticker system. Definitely for my pre-K, kindergarten, first graders, giving them a sticker every day that they did good. Very, very inexpensive. You can order 1,000 stickers on Amazon Prime for like $2. The sticker system works really, really good for the younger kids. So that's something as well. Field trips. So one of the things I told my kids was going to be their field trips. If you have service with T-Mobile or Sprint, they have T-Mobile on Tuesdays because they're collaborated, which where typically there's a fast food restaurant where you can eat at very inexpensive, like $1, or sometimes it's free. So that's going to be one of our field trips. I don't know about y'all. It's free or it's $1. That's going to be one of our field trips. So you can use that as a reward system. So T-Mobile Tuesdays, if you don't have that app, download the app. Again, if you have T-Mobile or Sprint service, if you have any type of phone service, look and see where you get discounts from your job. Look and see where you get discounts where you can take your kids on some type of field trip. Going to a family member's house. If you feel comfortable with that, with COVID-19, that can be some type of field trip to say, hey, typically we don't go anywhere during the week, but you did so good, I'm going to let you go to so-and-so house. You may even, if you allow your kids to spend the night, you may even say, hey, you can go spend the night. So field trips may work out to eat if you're comfortable eating at restaurants, or going through any type of fast food. I'm not really big on fast food, but if you are, perfectly fine. Or you may want to be a little bit more lenient to say, hey, once a month or something like that, you'll take them to a fast food restaurant. Watching their favorite movie, that may be something. Or there's a lot of streaming going on, renting a movie for them, $1.99, $3.99, because you had a good week. That may be something that you can do as well. You may want to give them 1 hour of a video game during the week. And so for us, let me just explain that. We don't do video games during the week on a typical school week. And so what I do, though, if they have a good week, grades are good, chores is getting done, behavior is intact, we have a free choice Wednesday. For 1 hour, they have a free choice of what they want to do. Most times my son picks video games, or they may want to watch like the little Disney shows and stuff like that. So you may want to give them that free choice hour that can be used as a reward as well, if you are okay with the video games during the week. Longer phone time, you may say, hey, you did really good today, I'm going to give you an extra 30 minutes. So whatever that looks like, if you have older kids, teenagers especially, and they have their own cell phones. One of the last things I want to mention about the reward system, shout out to Allison Good. She is an educator in, I believe, DeKalb County, and they were doing like some lives. Like I said, I've been on a few forums, listening to like administration, teachers, and things of that nature, asking them certain questions. So one of the questions I asked was, how do we keep our kids motivated throughout the school year? Because I had seen in the spring that our kids started to lack motivation. And to be honest, as a parent, I started lacking too. Like, you didn't get on a Zoom call today. You got an A. It's okay. But we got to be consistent, y'all. Especially because we may be doing it for a longer period of time. I don't know that, but we may be doing it for a longer period of time. And so, again, being home in our comfortable space, it's easy to get that lack of motivation. And so I asked, what do we do to keep our kids motivated? So her answer was using PBIS. So if you have a school that participates in PBIS, and I believe it's Positive Behavior Intervention System, or I'm not sure what the S stands for. I can look that up and make sure I give it to you all. I did have it written down somewhere. I was correct? Okay, perfect. So if you have a PBIS school, you are probably familiar with the strategies around it. If not, it's positive behavior enforcement. So instead of saying, hey, you didn't do good on a test, or hey, you didn't spend the amount of time that you were supposed to on the assignment, you didn't pay attention, you were talking during digital learning, instead of saying that they were talking in class, we're going to be like, you was in a chat box chatting with your friends while you were supposed to be doing your work. I just think that's hilarious. But anyways, instead of saying, because you did not do this, this is, I'm going to do this, like you're going to give some type of consequence, like I'm going to put you on punishment, or I'm taking away phone time, or I'm taking away video game time. What she said was use the positive reinforcement, where you sit down with your child, you have a conversation in the beginning before digital learning starts to say, hey, what do you need, or what can I do for you? What can I provide for you for doing everything that you should be doing throughout the school year? So when you wake up every day and you're motivated and you're doing your work and you're getting the good grades, what can I do for you? Like, what can I do for you doing all the things that you should be doing in school? So you're rewarding the positive behavior versus having consequences for the negative behavior. And so you will let them choose. And so she said they may say stuff like, can I have extra screen time? And screen time is like on the cell phones. If you cut it off at a certain time, let's just say 7 p.m. during the week, they may say, well, can you extend it to 7:30? Can I get some more video game time? Can I chat with my friend virtually for a little bit longer, or one time during the week because you only let me do it on the weekend? Whatever it is that your child may want to do. And I'm sure that y'all tell me the type of stuff they come up with, because I'm just curious to hear what your kids are going to say. Whatever that looks like, but sit down and have the conversation with your child and ask them, if you wake up every day and you do what you're supposed to do, what can I do to reward you? Basically, is what you're asking them for doing what you're supposed to do. And so that's how we need to create our reward system versus giving consequences for a negative behavior. So I hope that helped. We have talked about scheduling. We talked about the digital learning setup space as well as rewards. I will give it about 30 seconds or so to see if any of you have any questions or comments. But I thank y'all for joining me. I am definitely over my time. And so next week, I'm going to come with academic success and safety is the last two topics that I have some tips for. So if you can join me next week for part 3, that will be awesome. Thank you for all of you who joined me part 1 and part 2. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for tagging. You are welcome, Amber. You are so welcome. I hope that this helped for you all. I know that it can be, it's definitely an uncertain time, but it can be a stressful time. A lot of people has high anxiety. So it just helps to hear other tips. It helps to get support from others. It helps to have an accountability system, a support system. I talked about last week, if you don't have a village, you need to create you a village because you're going to need them during this time. So I love giving tips and strategies. Stay connected to my page if you're not already. Every week I'm doing something. On Monday, I give mom tips. On Tuesdays, we talk about different topics. It's Topic Tuesday. On Wednesdays, I do mom hacks. On Thursdays, it's kind of free for all day. And then on Fridays, I do mom finds. And so stay connected to me so that you can see, though, as this digital learning journey goes on, as I see things or I'm helping my clients, as well as things that's going on in my household, my friends, different strategies and tips that I see that's going to help, I am definitely going to be sharing with you all because, again, we're going to need that support this year. Things you never thought of. Great. I'm glad that I can help. Amber, Dollar Tree is a good place for inexpensive organization pins. Yes, they have a whole school. Anything I talked about, anything that if you Google some stuff online and you see, oh my God, that's cute, you more than likely you could probably find that at the Dollar Tree. So start there. You don't have to spend a lot of money to be organized. Thank you for doing this. You are welcome, Alicia. Yes, it is always good to hear perspective and ideas from others. So I appreciate you all sharing as well. And I appreciate you all coming on and connecting with me. That's all I have, y'all. Y'all have a very, very productive week. And you all have a good night. Thank you so much for joining me.